All right, we're live.
Okay. So I'll just close the window. You're not live. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that's good. Many thanks to the Tribal EPA Region 9 Conference for this opportunity. I'm Lucy Lee from the University of Arizona, and I'm so honored to have some of my wonderful colleagues and dear friends to join me today in this session. We welcome you all to our panel discussion today, and I would like my colleagues to introduce themselves first. So Jen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I'm Jen Ospa. I'm the Cocopah Environmental Protection Office Director.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Africa, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you, Lucy. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Africa Dorame Avalos. I am the Pesticide Program Manager with the Intertribal Council of Arizona.
Thank you. Emily, would you like to go first, next?
Yes, thank you, Lucy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Pimentel. I'm with the Environmental Protection Agency in the Mexico Border Branch, and I also serve as the region's tribal coordinator for the Border Program. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Emily. Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Jessica Helgeson, also with the Mexico Border Branch with Emily. Great to be here. I work with communications with our program and looking forward to the presentations.
Yeah, thank you so much all. During this session, we will talk about protecting human health and the environment through integrated and community collaborations, which is also protect human health and prevent pest management related pollution and enhance emergency preparedness related to pest management and outbreaks within our Native American communities. So we have a lot to cover. So I will say let's get started. And I do have my timer, so set up for 10 minutes. So hopefully let's get it rolling. Okay. Can you see my slides now? Okay, great. So again, my name is Lucy Lee. I'm an extension entomologist in the University of Arizona, and I coordinate the public health EPA program. So I would like to take this opportunity to share with you very briefly a project that was funded by the EPA Border 2020 program. So I want to start my talk by acknowledging all my team members, collaborators, and sponsors. Special thanks to our partner tribes and the tribal collaborators for their dedication to protect community members from pests, pesticide exposure, and vector-borne diseases. So in this project, University of Arizona and the Intertribal Council of Arizona, ITCA, partner with 3 border tribes to identify capacity building needs for environmental health priorities identified by each tribe. And we also provide need-based community-driven education, mainly focusing on reducing environmental risks and public health threats using EPA practices. So the lessons learned in this project will also be shared with other tribes around the Southwest region through our partner organization. For some of you who are not familiar with EPA, EPA is short for Integrated Pest Management. It is a science-based decision-making process that integrates multiple control tactics to manage pests in ways that minimize risks. So it is kind of like using many tools in your toolbox to solve a problem. So the EPA approach can safeguard the economic interests of users, protect human health and the environment. So what we did and who we reached, we developed a total of 50 publications distributed to our partner tribes and the tribal community members, including PSAs, social media, extension publication, trifold brochures, and newsletters. So we translated many of the brochures to Spanish as feasible, and also we translated a natural enemy guide in Spanish too. Publication topics included vector-borne diseases and vectors, such as mosquitoes and ticks, and public health pests or concerns such as bedbugs and cockroaches, and integrated pest management and environmental health protection and pesticide safety. So we presented 17 conference papers reaching over 5,800 registrants. In about half were tribal members. And we also presented 13 community demonstration presentations, reaching about 660 participants. So we contributed to or created 10 videos and 9 recorded publications. We also organized or implemented 7 workshops or outreach events for tribal partners, and facilitated 12 virtual trainings in collaborating with EPA. So due to the COVID, we kind of pivoted our method to messaging for the early part of this project. So all this reached near 2,300 audience. So we also partnered with the tribal leaderships, experts, and professionals to conduct 8 weeks of mobile clinics every year to reach out to community members in different villages or different parts of partner tribes. So we treated over 2,000 dogs with rabies vaccination and inspected over 1,100 dogs for brown dog ticks and installed tick collars as needed. So the invested funds and the partnerships cultivated in this project contributed to secure 2 newly awarded grants with a notable of 9-fold return on investment. So this enabled us to further our collaboration with partner tribes to conduct research on vectors in Arizona and also provide resources to assist with tribal capacity building needs for environmental health priorities. So pre and post event evaluation among our tribal participants indicated up to an 80% increase in knowledge of pests and EPM topics. So all our participants agreed that they will use newly learned EPM knowledge to empower their tribes to adjust decision-making and improve lives and communities. So tribal citizens and public health professionals have improved access to the latest scientific findings and the best management practices to improve public health and environmental health in tribal communities. So as a result of our EPM program efforts, our partner tribes adopted EPM within their vector management programs. So in addition, we also engaged new underserved stakeholder communities challenged by pest issues who benefit from EPM. So in addition to our Border 2020 project, I also want to share with you how we connect and engage with a broad tribal stakeholders to address their pest management needs, and how we honor and empower tribal nations and indigenous peoples through EPM education and partnerships. So this is a model of how our EPM program works. So we work with tribal stakeholders to identify their pest management or public health information needs, and then we connect them to trusted, unbiased subject matter experts that provide science-based solutions to pest challenges. So we assess and measure impacts and evaluate changes in participant knowledge and behavior. So in addition, we foster ongoing working relationships with tribal extension agents and tribal community collaborators so we can continue to build and expand our effort. So we actively explore the funding opportunities to keep the program sustainable. So here are some of the key engagement activities with our partner tribes, including trainings, outreach, community involvement, field visits, and regular communication. We shared important outreach materials and resources and involved diverse stakeholders to maximize connections and relationships with tribal organizations and leaderships. So one of my favorite outreach activities is the annual Earth Day celebration. I really miss that. So this is a perfect opportunity to teach tribal community members, especially youth, about insects and EPM. So we have been engaging and working with a variety of stakeholder groups, and our key tribal community collaborators play a significant role in our tribal IPM program. So we tailored our educational events and IPM workshops to the specific tribal needs and priorities, and also developed and delivered cultural sensitive educational materials. So participants were really interested in our hands-on activity, which was a great tool to teach our audience about IPM on bedbugs, mosquitoes, and highlights. So similarly, we tailored the IPM strategies to the specific needs and situations. We have successfully implemented school IPM in 6 school districts in Arizona, where many tribal students are currently enrolled. So IPM in housing protects vulnerable and chemically sensitive populations. So we implemented IPM strategies against bedbugs and German cockroaches in at least 5 low-income elder disabled public housing sites in Arizona. And we also organized and provided training events, mainly targeting the tribal housing authorities or housing management teams. So my team was also involved in the Intertribal Council of Arizona Tribal Resilience Program. It's a leveraged effort that builds capacity to support tribal resilience and adaptation to extreme events and harmful environmental trends. So we partnered with many tribes, tribal organizations, government agencies to maximize impacts through broad collaboration. So the National IPM Training for Tribal Communities 2 years ago was a broad collaboration among tribes and many organizations, and it sure took a huge effort to make this event successful. Same as today, we have all our partners from university, ITCA, and tribes and EPA to make our session successful. So thank you so much. And in summary, we cultivated effective partnerships with experts in 15 tribes in Arizona and significantly expanded our engagement with tribal stakeholders. So here's my contact info. Please feel free to contact me. If you have any questions, my timer just went off, so I guess I may not have time to answer any questions, but please feel free to write your questions in the chat, and I will answer it in the chat box. So thank you so much, and we'll turn it over to Jen to share her story. Thank you. Hi, Jen, would you like to start sharing your presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen, Lucy?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'll be sharing a bit about UA's collaboration with the Cocopah Indian Tribe on the Border 2020 IPM project. I'll be discussing a little bit about what we accomplished in the partnership, as well as some vector surveillance and outreach efforts that we are doing here at the tribe. So last year, Lucy reached out to us about the proposed partnership, and we thought it was a great opportunity for the tribe to be connected with her network of pest experts at UA, and also receive some help with the biggest pest management issues that we face here at the tribe. So the first thing we did was we got together a Cocopah team of several different departments. We had the Environmental Protection Office, Emergency Management, our Tribal Health Maintenance Program, our Housing and Development Department, and even one of our enterprises, our Cocopah Casino. And these folks were the people that we thought were best to connect with UA and discuss the pest management needs that we have. So earlier this year, we all got together on a Zoom call with Lucy's team, and they had a series of questions for us. And it was all about the pest management issues that we have, how we have addressed them in the past, the challenges that we face, as well as the training and resources that we believe would be most helpful to help us address these needs. So after this Zoom call, Lucy's team put together for us a needs assessment that was comprehensive and covered everything that we discussed together, our main pest management needs and the resources and trainings that we thought would be helpful. So this was just a really great process for us, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have had, all of us together talking about this issue. And it was great to have the UA team there to answer questions that we had. So that was a big help to us. And aside from the needs assessment and some of the trainings and resources that we received from UA, they also came out and helped with several outreach events that we had. So in April of this year, we did a tick collection or a tick check and collaring clinic. So we had one event at each of our 3 reservations, and Lucy came down and helped us. She trained us on how to check the dogs for ticks, and any that we found, we collected in vials to later be tested for Rocky Mountain spotted fever. And we also installed tick and flea collars on the animals that needed them. So it was a great event, and we were glad that we were able to put on something for the community still during COVID. We advertised it on YouTube the day before, and it turned out to be a really successful event. And aside from checking the dogs, we also provided information to the community on Rocky Mountain spotted fever and how to care for their pets and keep their household safe. Another event that we had was the Fun in the Sun, which was also in April of this year. That was hosted by our Tribal Health Maintenance Program, and that was the first big community event that we've had since COVID-19. So Lucy came out and she had a booth on her bed bugs. So she helped our community members learn how to identify bed bugs, and she provided some really helpful information for everyone. And the Environmental Protection Office also had a booth, and we provided free repellents and fly swatters to everyone. So that was another great event that we were able to put on for the community and just keep everyone informed. So a little bit about the mosquito surveillance and outreach that we are working on here at the tribe. Last year, we actually started a partnership with the Yuma County Pest Abatement District. They helped us start up our own surveillance efforts. So they provided us traps, and every 2 weeks, we would place them out and do our surveillance. They would provide the results on the mosquitoes that same week to us. And then actually this year, we expanded the partnership and actually helped out in the lab identifying the mosquitoes and even testing for West Nile virus right there in the lab. So that's been a great, another great partnership that we've been able to develop. And we've done some videos and we've appeared on the radio a few times, just encouraging not only Kokopah, but the whole Yuma community to take precautions against mosquitoes, wear the repellent, wear long sleeves, be aware of the times that they're spending by the river, and also, checking around their households for any breeding grounds that they can eliminate. And then another thing that we do is we have a community cleanup twice a year. And so this is another way that we help the community eliminate breeding grounds, not just for mosquitoes, but for other pests. So that's some of the work that we have been doing. We also have provided mosquito outreach bags as part of our yearly Fight the Bite campaign. So last year we put together a bag with repellent and a magnet and some helpful information on repellents and West Nile virus. Also this year we have tried to up our communication with our community. So we have a great public relations team here at the tribe. They're always willing to do videos, and we have a CocoaPod Now YouTube page where those videos are posted. We frequently put out flyers for our events in the monthly newsletter. And something new that we did this year was Facebook Live videos. So when we would be in the lab with Yuma County Pest Abatement District, we would do a Facebook Live video, just sharing with the community, how the trapping actually works and what the numbers are looking like, what areas have tested positive for West Nile, and just going over the precautions that people can take. And we've done a few videos like that this year. So, and as you can see, we reached almost 500 people just from one video. So that's been another tool that we've used. And then again, our public relations team put out a news release, which was later shared in the newspaper, about our partnership with the Pest Abatement District, and just updating the community on what the mosquito season has been like. So we are really grateful for all of these partnerships, and especially with UA. I know during this conference, I've heard so much about other tribal communities that really, can't say enough good things about the Arizona Pest Management Center and everyone there. So we really feel the same way. We're excited to keep this partnership going and working on public health together. And that concludes my presentation. And just thank you everyone for listening, and I welcome any comments or questions that you have.
Thank you so much, Jen. It was wonderful and amazing collaboration with you all, and I really appreciate the opportunity as well. Thank you. And I think our next speaker will be Africa. Oh yeah, you may want to stop sharing, Jen. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me go to my share screen. Give me a minute. Okay, Lucy, can you see me? Lucy, are you able to see my screen?
Muted. Yes, perfect. I can see it.
Okay, do you see just the one?
Yes.
Just the one screen. Okay, awesome. Well,
yes.
thank you.
The playing slides mode.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Africa Dorame Avalos. I'm with the Intertribal Council of Arizona, and I am the Pesticide Program Manager. Today, I will be sharing with you some of the resources that our programs have, and my program, and what we have accomplished, as well as any upcoming trainings and partnerships that we have developed. So for those of you that are not familiar with ITCA, or the Intertribal Council of Arizona, we are a tribal organization, a tribal consortia that was established in 1952 to provide a united voice for tribal governments in Arizona. The members of ITCA are the highest tribal elected officials. So you have our governors, our presidents, our chairpersons. And we operate more than 30 projects and employ a staff of about 70 folks. And unfortunately, right now, we're still working from home. We're hoping to revisit that at the beginning of the year, and hope to maybe get into the office and start traveling and start putting on some in-person trainings, because I am really missing some adult interaction. So fingers crossed. So I wanted to just give like a quick overview of some of the tribal pesticide programs in Arizona in Region 9. There are 148 federally recognized tribes in Region 9. We have 21 in Arizona, 18 in Nevada, 109 in California. And out of all of those federally recognized tribes, there are 9 cooperative agreements with EPA for the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. That is the FIFRA cooperative agreement. So we have 8 tribes and 1 consortia, which is us. So with that said, we do have a cooperative agreement with EPA. Our focus is on enforcement and pesticide program development. We also have inspection agreements with tribes in Arizona, with the Yavapai Apache Nation, the Kachan Indian Tribe, and the Hono O'odham Nation. And it's on a for-cost basis. And we are conducting those inspections based on a tribal enforcement matrix as well. So just an overview of the tribes within each region. And so in Region 1, we have 10 New England tribes, one annual OPP funded grant. And so as you can see in Region 9, we have the 9 cooperative agreements. So our pesticide program, we receive funding under the OICA, the Office of, I forgot the acronym. It's been so long, but it's OICA and the Office of Pesticide Programs. We have an inspection agreement with the 3 tribes, as I mentioned earlier. We coordinate and provide trainings, workshops, technical assistance to tribal programs and communities, and not just tribes that we have agreements with, but tribes within our region and on a national basis as well. We develop and coordinate annual tribal inspector trainings, integrated pest management trainings, and any individualized trainings to tribes. One of our main focus is pesticide safety and worker protection standard training to tribal agricultural establishments and compliance assistance. We also have some of the other programs that I would like to highlight is we have a Bureau of Indian Affairs Climate Resilience Program. The contact for that is Monique Sosi. And we are addressing the extreme events and harmful environments in the areas of drought, water availability, food scarcity, outbreaks of pests, and effects of pests on wildlife and air quality or respiratory illnesses. They have put in their work plan to conduct 4 virtual workshops, which are 2-day workshops. An upcoming training is titled The Rights Holders and Cultural Practices Summit by Dr. Stephanie Carroll, and that workshop is coming up in November of 2021. So if you would like to reach out to these individuals, their email is their first name, period, last name at itcaonline.com. I'd also like to highlight the Tribal Air Quality Program. We have a new individual. Her name is Kelly Jendrasak. And then the Solid Waste Program, Brian Davidson, which many of you know. He also runs the Emergency Preparedness Program. So some other public health related services or programs that we have established at ITCA is the Tribal Epidemiology Center, with who Dr. Ritchie is the lead on that. So they focus on various research and evaluation projects aimed to address health disparities among American Indian populations through research and community education programs. We also have a tribal health and human services and a tribal emergency preparedness program that focuses on hazardous materials. They assist tribes with planning, preparing, and responding to emergency situations. And they also provide training and technical assistance. So if any of you need assistance in those areas, please contact these individuals and they're more happy to provide those services. As I mentioned earlier, we have agreements with these 3 tribes to provide inspection services. And unfortunately, right now, since we are restricted on traveling, we have not conducted any inspections. So we're hoping to revisit that at the beginning of the year. Not only do we provide inspection services, we provide compliance assistance and training, hands-on inspections, inspection services, and then also follow-up on any type of non-compliance issues. Some important partnerships and collaboration opportunities and resources is with the Arizona Department of Agriculture, the IHS Phoenix Area Office of Environmental Health, the U of A College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, the Western IPM Center, National Pesticide Safety Education Center, which supports university extensions or the PSEPs, Region 9 Pesticide Working Groups, and the Pesticide Regulatory Education Program and Inspector Regulatory Training, and the TPPC. And just to emphasize that advocacy is important for us so that tribes are able to engage in advocating on important issues that are impacting them. So we want to be informed, we want to be prepared, and most importantly, present solutions that come with an open mind. And tribal representation is established within these groups, committees, or agencies. Some of the partners that we have identified is and resources, and I just want to emphasize on the importance of reaching out to build those relationships is through other tribal intergovernmental agencies or consortia, the university or tribal extension programs, the federally recognized tribal extension program through the U of A, for example, is a good resource. The Institute for Tribal Environmental Professionals, ITAC, is also another good resource and a great partner with us. Tribal councils and committees. The Tribal Pesticide Program Council is a good advocacy group for tribes that want to address certain challenges that they have within tribal communities on pesticide use, risks and exposures. And of course, the Regional Tribal Operations Committee is another good resource. Just wanted to highlight those. Some of the outreach, technical assistance and training services that we provide, as I mentioned earlier, is our pesticide inspector training, pesticide safety trainings to ensure that agricultural workers and handlers are trained on an annual basis, in person or via webinar workshops for specific staff, whether it's housing, CHRs, community health representatives, casino, golf courses. It doesn't necessarily have to be environmental folks or pesticide inspectors. We have provided trainings to schools and daycares. And one of our focus this year is IPM workshops. So we are working on a national IPM training in 2022. We will initiate to have that held virtually, and we'll decide later on in the year if we will hold that training in person. Other services that we provide are translation services, whether it's translating from English to Spanish on outreach and training materials, any brochures, any PSAs, and presentations as well. I just wanted to share some pictures from some trainings that we have held throughout the years. This was a training that was held at the Colorado River Indian Tribes. It was an annual inspector training. We had about 30 tribes represented in this training. So we're doing a lot of work. We are here and we are available to you. If you are requesting any type of training, unfortunately, we're only able to provide it virtually for right now, but we are here and available. And I just wanted to share some pictures from the farm back at home. So the farm is more than land and crops. It's our family's heritage and future. And I believe that is all I have. So if you have any questions. Thank you.
Excellent presentation, Africa. Thank you so much. And I really think it's wonderful programs from ITCA. And we do have a quick question from Christina. I don't know if you can say Africa, or we can save the questions after our last speaker. So Emily and Jessica, would you like to start your presentation?
Yes, we'll do that right now.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
Africa, if you could answer that in the chat, that would be good. And also, I would suggest speakers, if you don't mind, and could you share your email address to the attendees so
Yes.
that they can send you email for more information. So thank you, and we're going to listen to
Thank you.
Emily and Jessica.
And
Thank you.
Emily, thank you. I just went blank there for a minute.
No worries. We all forget those acronyms. Let's see. Can you see it in slideshow or not yet?
Not yet, Emily.
No?
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you so much to the previous speakers. What I'd like to do is just put some context into the work that Lucy just presented. The work resulted from a grant award under the Border 2020 program, which is a binational program that we've just renewed in May of 2021. And now we're under the new program, which is Border 2025. For those of you that are not familiar with what is defined as the border region, I just have a map here that shows the boundary between U.S. and Mexico, defined as 60 miles north of the international boundary and 60 miles south. And you'll see the states of California, Arizona, which are in our region, and New Mexico and Texas, which are in region 6. But what you also see there is the federally recognized tribes that are in the border region. And we've just heard, about the work that Lucy's done with the tribes in Arizona. And what I wanted to highlight here is the fact that Lucy has done an incredible job with leveraging and partnerships. And I think, Africa, you just pointed that out, and Jen's pointed that out in terms of opportunities to work with Lucy on the work. And I just wanted to point out that as a border program, we're also interested in the partnerships and leveraging opportunities where the work we do under the border program can be extended, just like you've seen here. And in fact, through the presentations that Lucy's done in our border work group, we've been able to amplify the information, not only in Arizona, but to California and to other parts of our border region. And, with a small grant, Lucy just shared that she was able to leverage that 9 times to get grant awards for $900,000. And that's exactly, what we'd like to see is that our opportunities that may seem small are able to be leveraged. She had already leveraged it, when she submitted the proposal in terms of putting in her own time and other partners' time. And now she's leveraged it again. So I just want to say kudos to you, Lucy, for that work. And I'd also like to extend an invitation that we also would like to see, tribal communities that are not only in the border, but beyond the border, that want to collaborate with us to share information, not only with our federally recognized tribes in the U.S., but also with our the Mexican indigenous communities in Mexico in the border region. So we'd love to see opportunities for that. And we just completed our solicitation. We have some pre-selected projects. Jen, congratulations again for the work that you're just about to begin. But through those grants, we provide opportunities for pilot projects, again, building capacity, just like Lucy has demonstrated, and studies, which is the work that Jen's will be doing soon. So I'm going to stop right there and ask Jessica if she'd like to begin her talk.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. So we're talking about all of the great work that has been done here with leveraging different resources, working together and collaborating. And I think one of the things that really stood out to us was the leveraging of communication in these projects. And so Lucy and Jen kind of highlighted how they mix different tools together to really to get their messages across. And within EPA, we have newsletters just so people, for their awareness. The tribal program for GAP has a newsletter, our border program has a newsletter, and the region as a whole has a newsletter that goes out. And those are places where you can kind of share your story, success, or maybe a collaboration that you had with our agency, and the importance of how those are shareable and how you can reach out to those people who share those stories. So if you find a project really fascinating, like today's projects, reach out to these folks. They are very interested in hearing your feedback and getting to know how they can collaborate with you. And also within our program, we have the Border 2025 program, we have task forces in which you can participate and share your concerns, environmental concerns, and kind of brainstorm and network with folks to see if you can collaborate and leverage work. So those are within the border region, the 62 miles with the U.S. Mexican border. I encourage you to attend those sessions if you can. And then just participating with EJ, environmental justice in general. We have a listserv that shoots off meetings that might be of interest and grant opportunities that you can network and participate in. EPA can also do presentations. So if you have an IPM topic that you want covered, you can reach out to us. And then I just wanted to highlight how, again, those tools that we have at our hands, public service announcements, something a little bit shorter that we can share with the community, and kind of mixing those in with perhaps home visits, especially for IPM, how mixing those all together and even thinking about how you've progressed from the beginning. I know, Lucy, you mentioned a pre and post test and how huge that is to show behavior change and see if folks are actually kind of getting the information that they need to protect themselves in regards to IPM. And Emily, if you want to go to the next slide. And so speaking of leveraging grants, so you have your foot in the door, you're looking for collaborating with another group, that's great. If someone already has some work started and you like what they're doing, ask them questions. Maybe they want to work with you, or maybe you just want to be inspired by it. So the Border 2025 program has a grant funding pot. We just finished our RFP, but there will be another one in the future. And it is, like I said, geared to those communities within the 62 miles of the U.S. Mexico border. But there are other opportunities within EPA. The Environmental Justice Grant Opportunities has grant periods. There'll probably be one next year. And sometimes IPM isn't necessarily listed directly in there, but there might be other topics like asthma, which with IPM is tied in there. So you can figure out a way to create a grant within the EPA's process that can tackle those topics. And there's also technical assistance. It's on we'll send this website or this PowerPoint out, and it has a link about technical assistance that you can request and other opportunities. And just add more to checking on the state's funds as well. They also have grants, and sometimes they're not as many people apply for them. So I would encourage you to also apply for state funds. The Western IPM, if you go to that website as well, it has grant funds particularly tied to IPM, as well as HUD tied to healthy homes. And EPA, like I said, at this time doesn't have any IPM specific grants, but you can go to the IPM website and look at webinars and request technical assistance. And yeah, that's all. We have a question for everyone, because we're very curious how your communities have shared environmental health and public messages during the pandemic. I know, Lucy, you were very creative in this process. And if we don't get answers right away, if people want to type them in the chat, I don't know if Lucy, Jen, Africa, if you guys have any other comments or suggestions on this topic to start us off.
Wonderful presentation, Emily and Jessica, and great information. I think Jen from Cocoba did a great job to promote and get the message out. I probably would let Jen go first. If Jen, if you would like to share something.
Yeah, sure. Just some of the things I mentioned before. We've done YouTube videos on different topics, like when we were putting together the mosquito outreach bags, we just did a video on that and showed how to safely apply repellents. And then we also had videos of what we actually do for mosquito surveillance, how we put out the traps and, later go into the lab and identify the mosquitoes, just to keep people informed and just so they know what's going on behind the scenes. And then, like I mentioned, the Facebook Live videos, those are really good. They get people interested, and it's like a real-time update of what's going on. We would do them the day after that we trapped, when we were in the lab testing the mosquitoes. So yeah, people like those. And I think also consistency is a good thing. Not just putting out one video, but updating people now and then when you can. And then also we've shared things in our newsletter. So yeah, there's a few different platforms, and we just try to do what we can with what we have. So, and that's, it's not really anything that requires funding or anything like that. Just if you have a video camera, you can get a video up on YouTube. So yeah, I encourage other tribes to just use what they have available.
What's your typical length of your videos? Are they short? Are they long when you're posting?
They are on the shorter end. I would say between 3 and 5 minutes.
Did a great job when Jen was mentioning the tick collar and tick check and coloring events. They put a Facebook out within half an hour. We got over 200 hits. So it goes really fast. It's live broadcast, and so that the community members can know we are there. We will be there for a few hours. So they just brought their dogs, or if they have any information needs, they just come out to find us. I think that was really effective. Yeah. And I also see Africa mentioning something there. Africa, would you like to just speak out to the ITCA's social media campaign? I think you were
Sorry,
muted.
I was trying to.
Okay, yeah, you were muted earlier.
Yes, so we launched, ITCA launched a social media campaign that focused, around climate change, the effect of climate change on invasive species and agricultural crops. And with that, it touched on a realm of things like pesticide safety, integrated pest management practices, how to identify bed bugs. And we did it on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages. And what they did is she was able to see how many hits there were. And then they launched like prizes if they were to click, like, and share the post. They were entered into like a raffle. And we were able to send out like little bed bug inspection kits that we put together. And for example, some seeds that we purchased from Native Seed to help with pollinator habitat, etc. So it focused on not just that, but wildfire prevention, solid waste, water conservation. And then we also touched on some of the other programs like the WIC program, breastfeeding, food sovereignty, etc. So it was pretty neat. We were able to do that during the summer.
That's great. And do we have any answers from our participants? Let me see. How about you guys, Emily and Jessica? Do you have anything to share with the group? Okay. I cannot hear you, Emily. You are muted. Okay.
No, during the pandemic, I think what we saw was an abundance of webinars, early on various topics. In fact, I know many of the universities that were linked with, tribal communities. They did some excellent ones. I know they partnered with EPA at the national level to share information with regard to, disinfectants, use of masks, and so on. I think we forget, it's still the early days that were very dark, and there was a lack of information, and really there was such a rise to the occasion of people coming together. So I was just really impressed with how many people came together to collaborate.
Yeah, and for webinars, I think there was an uptick of how many were recorded, which I think was really helpful for folks who weren't able to participate necessarily in the session at that time, that they could go back and look at the information that they wanted to see. And then I think it also forced a lot of us to be more creative in how we reach out to folks. And so I see that in these presentations, how creative you became to do a mix of the both.
Yeah, I totally second that. I also think the partnerships we have been cultivating, establishing, I think that's really important. So we can share our resources, with our network, and so we can reach more people to get more information out. So I think that's really great. I kind of lost track of time, but I think we may be it's 2:53, so maybe it's the last session of the last day of the conference. So probably I would say let's just if we don't have any questions, probably we can end the session. And thank you so much for my dear friends and collaborators and colleagues. You guys are so amazing, and I really appreciate. I hope we have more collaborations in the future. And also thank you all the attendees and spend the time and attention to be with us. Just let you here, we are a resource. If you need any help, any information, just reach out to any one of us, and we will get the information out, and we will reach out to our partners and then get the information for you. EPA, ITCA, and tribes and the university. We're all in this together, and I think we're going to get this over with. We're going to start our regular life soon. I hope soon. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I really hope you have a good day, and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Um,
Should I